welcome to Artsphere. My name is Jerry McQuillan, and this lesson we're going to be talking about our one out of our two music pieces that we're going to be finishing off for this alto saxophone introduction is going to be a section from Beethoven's Ode to Joy. Most people know this song because of its just popularity, so I'm using a section of this song that most people reminisce about as a way for us to use the knowledge that we gained from the past 18 lessons onto a sheet of music. And right now, get your metronomes out and set the metronome to 115 in 4/4 time, since the piece of music is in 4/4. So, do any warm-ups you haven't done before, get yourself all prepped up, and let's discuss the music Ode to Joy. So, Ode to Joy does have a pattern at the start, from measures 1 to 4, which is just going to be the top half for about two times, and then a slight, the same rhythm but slightly altered in the final line of music for Ode to Joy. So let's talk about how the time signature of this rhythm goes. So let's start. Let's look at the first line and sing along with me. Ta 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 ta. So I got that from each quarter note. Each note being a quarter note. So it's going to be in a quarter note position. So 4 quarter notes for 3 measures in a 4/4 time, and then the last measure from our rhythm is going to be a dotted quarter note into an 8th note half note. So you would go ta 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 and hold out that last note because it's 2 beats long. Let's go. The same thing applies to the second line, which is going to be ta 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 ta. So that goes a little bit lower at the end, at the last 2 measures of that line, and it's just the exact same. 4 quarter notes in 3 measures, and then the last measure of this line is going to be a dotted quarter note into an 8th note and a half note. And then we go to the third line of music, which is going to be ta 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 ta. We'll discuss that last note of the last measure in full after we just go through the whole song. But let's focus on how this is completely not the rhythm that we've been discussing for the first 2 lines. So we start with 4 quarter notes for the first measure, and the second measure is going to be a quarter note into 2 8th notes, ta ta, and then after that is going to be 2 quarter notes, and then the exact same rhythm repeats, ta 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 ta, on the next measure after the first rhythm. And then we go into the final measure of this line, which is going to be ta 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 ta. So it's going to be 3 quarter notes, 4 quarter notes overall, but we have to carry that last quarter note to the next line of music. So without focusing on the holding in the last note to the beginning of the first note for the 4th line of music, let's just go on to the 4th line. So we're basically holding on to the last note of the 3rd line and going into the first note of the 4th line. So we'll skip that. So with not counting the first note of the last line, it's going to be 3 quarter notes into the same rhythm. Ta 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 ta. It's a little bit confusing. Ta 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 ta. So without that holding over note that goes through, it's the exact same rhythm as lines 1 and 2. So pretty easy. Let's actually focus on how each note is played. So let's go slowly for each measure. So let's start at the first line of measure 1. We start out with B, B, C, D, well, D octave key, D octave key, D octave key, C, B, A, G, G, A, wait, G, G, A, B, B, A, then the exact same happens, but on a lower pitch for the last two measures of the second line. So, like we did before, B, B, C, G, G, B, B, C, D, D, C, B, A, G, G, A, B, A, G, G. So, it's pretty easy, since there's some notes that do carry over from the first line to the second line. You do see the F sharp key on as it's usually just a concert G scale, but there's no F sharp key to be found, so it's a lot easier just to play this without having to worry about any sort of sharps or flats. So, with that out of the way, on to the third line, which is going to be quarter note A, B, G, A, then 2 8th notes, B, C, B, G, A, B, C, B, A, G, A, low D, and then going without holding the low D into a B. So let's focus on the carryover from the last measure of the third line to the first measure of the fourth line. So let's practice this part. So we do G, A, D, B, B, A, C, D, D, C, B, A, G, G, A, B, A, B, B. Yeah, so it's a little bit confusing. You just need to practice just thinking that the carryover of the first note of the beginning of the last line is basically just a ta, 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 but just think of it in your head since it's going to be a basic hold note. So you have to go it's a little bit confusing overall, but like I said, just practice the last note of the third line and the last measure of the third line and the first measure of the last line. And then you can get that practice all set up. Sorry, I have a little something in my throat. So let's actually practice doing it in time. So I set my metronome to 115 since this is a consistent beat that we can go to, and it's a little bit faster than what we've been doing for an 80, like an 80 tempo at 4/4, since this is basically a last review of everything that we've learned so far. So I'll turn this up so you can hear it. Like I said, turn your metronome to 115 in 4/4 time. Have that all set up, and then get your posture ready. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll start from the first start of Ode to Joy, and then I think go until the last measure of the second line. 1, 2, 1, 2, breathe. There you have it. You can turn your metronomes off whenever you please, and that is Ode to Joy. Next lesson is going to be a song called It's Now or Never. That's going to be a basic way to test all of your skills and all you've learned over the course of these past couple lessons, or a lot of lessons. So after this, you'll be all set and ready to go into any sort of intermediate or advanced sort of alto saxophone playing. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. And thank you so much for watching ArtSphere's video.